It's going to be a really good conversation. We have been over a stretch period of time about quantum physics, but even better as the Edenic human. So, what does
Okay.
that look like for the Edenic human? And so often we were taught in the church, mainstream, everywhere. We're all like taught about this, go live your dream, destiny, purpose. It causes a forward motion. It causes the not enoughness. Oh, I better try even harder. Now there is truth to being in alignment, but it's more about tone, right? It's tuning into the feedback. It's like a car merging into that lane. Then it's a given of alignment. It's no different than the GPS. So there is truth to that. But when it comes to this drivenness and rigidness and, oh my gosh, I got to get to my destiny. I mean, we've all experienced it, right? You guys comment below. You've all experienced this feeling like, oh my gosh, I'm missing it. What's God's will? Oh, I'm out of God's will and all this kind of stuff. When we come into the Edenic human, we actually are seeding full embodiment. You know how we've been talking about this whole last year about the importance of being embodied. When you live from your design, your Edenic origin, your Edenic human design, you're whole, complete. You really, really are. We all are. We've just had overlays. We've had all this put on us that distracts us, or it bends our note, or it tunes us to a lower frequency, or it tunes us to our family habits and all these stuff that is not true to you. So as we retune back to our Edenic human, our origin, our God ordained design and wholeness, tuning into him in a straight note, it's phenomenal. We move into co-creating. We're not trying to have this separation anymore of reaching for our destiny or God, I want to be in your will or God, help me, and so it causes this. No, we're like whole design, wholeness, co-creating. What does today behold?
This is an interesting topic because a lot of you are already going, you're living part of your, what we would call dream or your destiny or whatever you want to call it. But just like Amy was saying, we want to really bring it down to the wholeness of who we are and start from there. That, religion tells us that we're not whole, that we're broken,
Yeah.
and that
Here, buy this for
we're still deficient, and we're always looking for some kind of healing or wholeness in our soul. Yes, there's conditioning that we allow to dissolve in the light of love, but we are not broken people. You are not broken. You are not broken. You are
despite of
whole.
what you've been told or what you might have felt.
So you are a whole and complete person. Colossians talks about being complete, being made complete. So if we start from that point, then you're already in your design that you signed up for before you came to planet Earth. And while you were in Eden, you were already in design by design without any flaws, without any brokenness, without any issues, without any conditioning, right? It's only when we enter into the breach and remain in that part where we feel like we have to grab for destiny, grab for the dream, reach outside of ourselves to go after something. I remember when the Seven Mountain Message was, if you know what that is, Seven Mountain Mandate was pretty popular. It still is in some circles. But what that told us was to just go after your dreams, go after your mountain, climb up the mountain, go take that high ground, and then let the light of God shine from there. That you'd be the one through Christ in control, so to speak, from that high point. And then the ideal was to let everything trickle down, have a trickle down effect, but it's still hierarchy. It's still effort. It's still climbing a mountain you may not even have been designed for. So I want to ask the question, how many entrepreneurs and creators that are on this call right now and will ever be on this life, how many of you have gone after something because you saw it was a good idea and you knew that you could hustle and make it happen? You knew that you had the goods, type A, quote, driven personality, whatever, from that point, and you went after it. And then you got bored in a hot second. You got bored in about 5 minutes. And you're like, and then you threw it to the side. Been there, done that, wore the t-shirt out and didn't even give it to the Goodwill because it wasn't even good enough to throw down the drain.
No, this is
So
one of our designs we did right here. This
yeah,
is in Lahaina.
this is for the Lahaina fires when we were over there helping out with Red Cross.
So
There
he's
was
still wearing the t-shirt. That's
still
a good
wearing the
thing.
t-shirt. But this was a good idea that stuck and we were passionate about it. So the idea is, okay, so we have a chef on the call.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah,
Chef
that's right,
Andy.
Jimmy. Okay, we have a chef on the call. So let's take that for example. So you know what, at this point in your life, Andy, you know pretty much what your design is. Now, that design can go in any direction and expand to infinity, right? So there's idea after idea after idea, invention after invention after invention that comes in. When we start from the place of wholeness, say you're a chef and you're whole, yes, you're still working through some things like we all are because we're human. It's the conditioning and the programming through woundedness, right? But you do that as you go and you create. You allow the love of God to dissolve those isms and schisms, so to speak, that woundedness as you're creating and as you're demonstrating the love of God through that, right? But that's by design from the inside out. So you have this innate ability to bring out the chef in you, and you've had some training in the past, but now it's just second nature. What is that design speaking from the inside out, not from the outside in? This is where a lot of Christians, a lot of people get into trouble because they're always reaching for the outside for some dream. They're always reaching for another idea on the outside. Well, this is a good idea. This is a good idea. Nothing wrong with good ideas, but what is the design? What is the DNA saying so that you don't get bored in 5 minutes? So that when you go into inspired action from the inside out, what sticks? What remains? What do you see as having longevity? See, this is the stuff we consult with, and we go into companies and they ask us, well, what do you think's going wrong with the team? Why do we have so many people quitting? Well, it's right role, right person, right place. You might have some people that are 1 or 2 degrees off because they're reaching, they're needy. They're going on the outside and they're trying to
Trying to
go
be
after something,
something that
trying to
they're
be
not.
something they were never designed to be.
Yeah.
So it's design or destiny. Which one is it?
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah. And
yeah, it's interesting.
destiny breeds performance. And we've all seen it. We've all experienced it, right? The performance culture, because I got to get to my destiny. I got to be in God's will. I've gotta, right? That ends up being the motivation behind it all. Instead of when you're in design, you're leaning back, right? It's that back breath. You are at rest and things are coming to you. And this is where you tap into the quantum field, because the quantum field acknowledges identity. This is what is so huge. When we are in that forward, gotta get destiny, everything's like cut off because we're holding on. I've got to do this in my own strength. Where when we're in design, downloads are coming in. We're now picturing it. We're feeling it. It's like suiting up like Iron Man. You're feeling it. You're like,
Yeah.
yes, this is my design. So now you move through your day walking in that, right? You're feeling things. You expect favor. Remember what we've talked about the last couple of weeks? Well, of course this works out for me.
Yeah.
Of course I have favor. It is the effortless flow that has the scent of Eden. It has the scent of heaven. What is the scent? What does it smell like? When you smell somebody that's operating in performance or destiny, what does it smell like? I mean, tell me. You just like it repels you, right? Because it's too forward. It's just too much. So what happens in water, right? It causes that, you know? And so, but when you're in design and you can see it on somebody, they walk slower, they walk, aside from being excited about something, but it's just on them. They're in sync. They're in design. They are acknowledging their identity. They know their grace lines. They facilitate what's not their thing. They're not trying to win everybody's approval. They're not, it's so beautiful, and it's God's design, just like a flower. It just takes joy opening up. Just opening up. It's not trying to be like all the other flowers around it. It is in its design. It's focused on its essence. And what happens? It draws people in. It draws the birds. It draws the hummingbirds. Everything is coming to them. So this is a changeover that's happening as we're moving out of the 3D, density. We're moving in to the Edenic human. We're awakening.
Yeah.
All the layers are falling off. So again, we see so much about ascension in the church. We see ascension in the spiritual camps, growth around the planet.
Levels.
And it still is that efforting performance.
Yeah.
Okay, I got to go all the way up to 12D. I've got to do all this stuff. And yes, there is greater awareness, there's higher frequencies, but really what's happening, it's no different than holding a cork down underwater. You lift that density, that pressure, the beliefs you've had off, you'll naturally ascend. You don't have to try to ascend and learn all this stuff. No, it's backstroke. Relax and release, right? Relax and release, and up you go.
Yeah, and then look what Jesus said about the lilies of the field. He said none of them, any king, any kind of glorious thing that you could created thing other than, nature, the King Solomon and all the rest none were arrayed like the lily, like the flower, like the created thing that came out of nature. And what is it? What is the flower doing? It's living by design. It doesn't have a destiny. It's not sitting there saying, I better manifest my dream. I got to make X amount of money, or, I'm not going to make a mark in this world. Even making a mark in this
Right.
world is egoic.
Yeah.
If you really think about that,
I need to be seen. I've got to count.
I've got to count. And I've done this, I don't know how many times in the past. It's like, look, I want my life to count. I want to make a mark here. I want legacy. Legacy is another big egoic thing, right? And if we're really looking at it from that perspective,
Because it's
from
what
a
we've
God
been taught.
perspective, it's what we've been taught is that you need to leave a legacy. No,
Mm.
we've come to realize in the Edenic awakening is that we leave our design here.
Moment by moment.
Moment by moment, we are spreading an Edenic footprint by design. So what is that blueprint, the original blueprint of a design that you are? Um,
It's encoded.
if you don't know it yet, it's okay. We see glimpses, we see in part, we know in part, right? So we see glimpses as we grow, as we mature, as we expand, as we have the layers come off, we begin to see, wait a minute, it's not just one calling that I have to pigeonhole myself into feeding the homeless under the bridge. I never could understand that when they'd say, my calling is to go feed the homeless. Well, that's something you do. It's not your design. Look at how Jesus fed the homeless. Jesus was living in his design. And he said, oh, this is no problem. Give me what you have. And boom, we'll just multiply whatever it is. It's something he did from his design to feed the
Mhm.
homeless. It wasn't a calling.
And from Papa's design of abundance.
Yeah.
He tuned into the field of abundance. We didn't see him pleading with God. No, he just anchored in.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I'm going to match the field. So it's, guys, this is what's so fun is that you just get to match a version of you. You get to match the field that already is and see it as done and walk accordingly. That's effortless, right? Whereas when we're moving and shifting matter, and maybe you guys have heard Joe Dispenza, we've been listening to him for years. He's awesome. And he always talks about trying to move matter with matter is going to take you forever, right? But when you go into the quantum realm, you go into the field, in God's field, it's already there. We're merging to that version and matching it and saying, yeah,
Yeah.
be it so according to your faith. That was a code. That was a blueprint reminder that Christ was giving us. It was his shorthand, you know? So it's so much funner. And yeah, it's just now we're going into the reprogramming of it. That's all it is. We are unbending our no. We are remembering, wow, this is so much easier because, like we say, the archons, the false matrix, they need you to be in drama. They need you to be efforting because that's what they live off of is your striving, is your not enoughness, is that separation belief, because then they can get in. When there's that separation belief, they can get in with all kinds of programs. Buy this program, do this because you're not enough. You need to buy this. You need to buy that. You need to get this supplement. You need to get that. You need to learn this. Oh, you're not enough over here, so get this degree. Oh, and so it's just constant static, isn't it?
Yeah, forcing matter with matter. You can only go so far. People are doing this with their ego. They are building empires. But again, it goes back to if I feel like I have some sort of dream, the white picket fence and three-car garage and all that kind of stuff, if I am if I'm living from that place, then I'm living out of deficiency because I'm doing it to prove something to somebody, whether it's myself or a parent, and I'm a grown man. I'm doing it
Right.
to because I was poor and now I'm trying to just prove something.
Right.
But if we're living by design, it doesn't matter what happens in our lives.
Yeah, you're
So
not
it's
trying
just
to
like
prove an
it's
identity.
just like Jesus said to be a good cheer, for I've overcome the world. So no matter what happens, don't store up a lot of stuff. Don't take with you, disciples speaking to disciples, don't take with you, 100 grand in your satchel and it got, 3 or 4 pair of extra clothes. No. Why? Because the field always provides no matter where you're at. And it's not about building an empire. And that's guys, this is a big deal
Raw
in
real.
religion. Everybody's trying to build an empire off of the
Yeah.
seventh mountain somewhere. And while that may be, well intentioned there, it's still ego trying to be seen for some reason
Yeah.
and then calling it God and calling it good. Whereas if we just let the whole shebang unravel, and then we're just like, what am I left with? Oh, I'm left with design.
Yeah.
I showed up with
Only
design.
one of you. Fingerprint.
There's only one of you. And they've said it before that if a multimillionaire loses their money overnight, they can get it back just like that
Why is that?
because they know their design.
Right. They're
They're,
not
they're,
trying to perform.
they're not trying to perform. They're not trying to push matter with matter. They are literally in their flow.
And up.
Yeah, and they're matching up. And then and it could be from an egoic place, and then they're going to find out that doesn't satisfy, right? Then they're going to have to come back underneath the conditioning at some point, find out what's going on. But for you and I, where we're doing the inner work, then it should be a no-brainer to say, oh yeah, I'm just literally, what's calling to me next? What is unfolding next from the inside out? What is happening now? And tomorrow, we'll just let it take care of itself. But what's happening right now? What is unfolding in you right now?
Yeah.
That's the design speaking, the blueprint, the Eden awakening saying, okay, yeah, let's enjoy the now. And then whatever pops in, oh, there's an idea. Wow, creative flow, effortless in that sense, because now we're not planning with some big, lengthy, big business plan. Remember what the scripture says is if you plan to go to a city next year and build some empire, all such thinking is evil. In other words, it means that it's egoic. And so
And
if
it
you're,
blocks the
it
signal of
blocks the
blocks
signal, it
things from
blocks
God.
the flow, it blocks the
Split
unfolding.
energy. Because your head's trying to complete this
Yeah.
over here, and your spirit and heart are saying, no, this is the original path we had for you. That's why we keep trying to lead you over here. And you're like,
Yeah.
yeah, but I committed. And I'm going to keep my word. So your ego, this is the trap, right, of the ego with the good things. Yeah, but I'm loyal. I am a man or woman of integrity, so I'm going to hold to this. And so in your head, you're just holding that because you're afraid of what people may think of you. And you're afraid of what you'll be if you don't have that as an identity. When all along, you know in your gut and your spirit, God is saying, yes, but I've called you to this. Come on, follow the leads and prompts. I have a bigger, you know, this is where your heart's leading you. And so, it's just relenting again from the ego that's edging God out and get back into that flow moment by moment. We are sentient beings. We are designed to be led by the leads and prompts, by the flow. This is why it's so important in this time and age where we are really learning how to listen to our bodies. We're honoring rest. I mean, it doesn't take long to just go take 5-10 minute nap or even just lay there in surrender. All of a sudden, all that resistance, all that stress lifts and boom, comes in the next guiding download, comes in the next idea that was trying to get you all along. But we were too busy trying to figure it out with our head or efforting, or I've got to complete this. I've got to complete this before I go rest. So what happened is we are not listening to our body because we are pushing past. Again, it's like tuning an instrument. You're tuning it way beyond, and now it's getting out of tune by your own efforting. When it goes back into alignment and rest, now you can hear the right music.
It's really harmonics. It really is harmonics that we're led by the hum. We always say follow the hum. A Christian asked me this not too long ago. They're like, why
Yeah.
do you always talk about the ego? That's what the New Age talks about. And I just said, well, ego is the same thing the Bible talks about as flesh. It's the same exact thing. So you can interchange the two, flesh, ego. We found that when you talk to the average Joe or Susie Q out there and you say flesh, they're like, flesh, huh? Flesh? What? Well, yeah, what are you
Yeah,
talking about my flesh?
weird. Kill your flesh. What?
But when we say ego, they're like, oh,
Oh yeah, no, my
yeah,
ego
I know
gets in the
that one.
way. And then the
So,
acronym for it too is just like,
yeah.
just perfect, edging God out.
But for the Christianese and the Taiwanese, we just say the flesh. Yeah. We say we say yes, it's that the spirit and the flesh, they war against each other. Galatians 5:16-23, the spirit and the flesh are contrary to one another. So you could say the spirit and the ego are contradictory because the ego is built upon an illusionary lie that says that I'm in charge and this is the way it is.
Yeah.
And when we're led by the spirit, have you noticed that it's never hardly conventional at all? The wisdom is not conventional. Like, God will just say, I want you to start a business. And you're like, okay, what business? I want you to start let's see, a financial business. And you're like, finances? My finances are kind of tore up right now. What do you mean, God? I'm saying this as an example for somebody that we know that this happened to. They were $200,000 in debt and owed everybody and their dog money. And God said, I want you to start a financial company there, buddy. And he's like, I think you got the wrong guy. He's like, nope, start it. I'm going to bless you through it. He's like, okay, how do I tell people? Just tell them. Just let them find out on their own. And so he did. And long story short, it was only a few years into it, he's completely out of debt. And then shortly after that, he became a millionaire. So when God speaks something, you know how this goes. It's not conventional. It's like, and it's not timely at all, right? It's like, God, can you wait a couple of years? Can you wait a minute until the grandbabies are grown up, so I can hang out with them? And he's like, nope, I want you to go on the road, take your RV, go on the road. And you're like, you don't have to, but I'm just kind of leading you that way. You're gonna have a blast. If you follow the hum, you're gonna have the time. I had the time of my life. Yeah, you'll have the time of your life, right? So
Isn't that what
it's
you want?
speaking to your spirit man, not the egoic centric part, because God won't speak to that part. Speak to the bigger part of who.
And matter won't respond to that either. Matter responds. This is what's so cool. We have been so learning and remembering. Matter is a living substance waiting for your identity match. God designed it to match up to you and serve you and assist you when you step into that design, into your identity as a daughter, as a son of Eden, of God, and really tuning into what is true to you, what is encoded in there. It's already built in. Look at everything in nature. Everything's built into that seed. A tree is not praying, a seed is not praying to God to become a tree, right? No, no. It just bees. It just bees and receives and follows accordingly. Follows accordingly. And so, and matter responds. And so, a lot of times we are trying to make things happen like a cut off branch and wonder, where is my supply, God? God, why aren't you helping me? And see right there again, too, when we get into this victim thing, God, why are you allowing this? God, why aren't you helping me? Again, it goes into that separation thing. And I have had him tell me, too, he goes, I already did everything. It's already waiting for you. It's right there. And when you step out of victimhood and say, wait a minute, I just need to match up with who I already am and what he already said is mine. And sure enough, the matter comes swooshing in to support you. Doors open up, favor happens. Why? Because we've come into agreement and we're no longer bringing in that separation that causes delay, that causes disappointment, that causes hope deferred. We're the ones creating most of that because in your right, right?
Yeah.
Be it so
Yeah.
according to your faith.
Yes.
It's a principle, it's a law, and the more we
Yes.
wake up to that law, we're like, "Oh, wow." You become like Bruce Almighty, "I've got the power."
Okay. So yeah, that's so good. So I just had a thought that dropped in my spirit for somebody that's struggling. You've put your hand to some things and you did it for money's sake. Here's the issue with that is that when we do anything for money to try to make money, I said this story before, but I think for the sake of whoever listens to this, that it is for, is I've been an executive in the corporate world for decades and have managed many people. And anytime somebody, let's make an example from a nurse perspective, because I had to hire many nurses. And when they came and sat before me and they slapped their resume on my desk and they said, "I'm here for the money, honey." I had
Oh,
literally had a nurse say that to me.
there's your sign.
"Money, honey." I was like, "All righty then." And I thought internally, I'm like, "Not hiring you, honey." When they come in and they do that, then I know that they're moving out of deficiency. They're moving out of destiny, which oftentimes is built upon the egoic deficiency because I have a destiny, right? But
They
when they
might not
come
even
in,
be in that, they're in
yeah, when
desperate
they come in and yeah, when they come in and they say, you know, my mom was a nurse, grandma was a
Mm.
nurse, and it's just in my blood, and I can't think of anything else. I was playing with it, my little friends. When I was a little girl, we were playing, doctor, nurse kind of things. And all I could think about was being a nurse. And it's just everybody tells me I'd be great at it. And I am because I've been a CNA, I've been a caregiver. Now, my destiny is a nurse. In fact, I'm going to school to be an RN. You're hired, honey. You are
Mm,
hired.
yeah.
Why? Because now I'm
Design.
hearing design
Design.
and destiny. I'm hearing, oh, is
Yeah.
that design I hear calling?
Or
Is that design
desperacy.
I hear? Oh, yeah. Or the ego is like, I'm here for the money, honey. No, no, no. You're go, and then you know what I do? I ask that same person. I say, "You're here for the money, huh? Let's talk a little bit. What's your dream?" And they're like, "Oh, I want to be an entrepreneur, honey." And I'll go, "Really? What kind of an entrepreneur?" "Well, man, I spend most of my time creating content around making midlife women look beautiful." "Really? Tell me more about that." See how this goes? See how this goes? So you can find out real quick by asking open-ended questions. Say, "Tell me more about that." It's one of the tactics that they teach in sales, to be a good salesperson
Or a
in
good
the world
listener.
or a good listener. It is a good one, and it's a good technique, I should say, to say, "Just tell me more about that," because then people love to be heard and they want to be heard, and then it just comes out of them, comes out of their pores. So we'll find out real quickly, destiny or design. So somebody listening to this, I think, you've been going after things for money, and you're reaching on the outside because you need money.
And you're exhausted and you wonder why it's not working and
And
you're
you're
having to hold it
exhausted.
all up.
Yeah, and then you get bored real quick, and then you get resentful because you're like, "Ah, why aren't they coming through?" And then you just get very bored very quickly, and then that peters out, and you're looking for the next thing. But if we go
What?
ahead, we start on
Yeah.
the inside, and we just
Listen.
allow what's bubbling up to come up, and listen to those that love us the most. We're going to know real quickly. not just pigeonholed one thing by design. It could be a million different things. What's calling me now? What's
Mhm.
calling to me now? What's wax on, wax off? What's calling to me now?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You're not called to be a coffee shop barista forever. You may be in the coffee business because you absolutely love coffee, right? But then it'll come out of your pores. You'll be giving
Pardon the pun.
customers will ask you and you're like, "Oh, yeah, I've been studying about the roasting process.
Yeah.
I've been studying about, man, I really want to own my own shop one day.
There you
Let me
go.
do this."
Own.
Yeah, and then you're so excited. Or are you that barista that when anybody takes a swig of that drink, they can't taste the love in it. They taste the bitterness in it. They taste the resentment. They taste the
Burnt coffee because they are burnt out. And I can't tell you how many times we have gone up to coffee shops and I've asked them, I said, can you tell me like what coffee is in your drip? Like what kind do you have? Oh, I think it's like a, I don't know, medium. And I'm like, yeah, but is it Brazil? Is it Colombia? Is it a blend? Is it, Guatemalan? It's like, tell me, are you passionate about it? Do you know your product? And they just kind of like, oh, I don't know. Let me ask. Hey, do you know? And I'm thinking, there's your sign. You are out of alignment. You're just here for the paycheck. And we can taste it. And it's just mind blowing how many owners are like not in connection with their employees. They're just, so are they in it for the money then? Oh, this looks like a good money maker. I think I'll do this. We'll just hire the right people. We'll send the middleman in. And we all know the issue. The middleman's trying to keep their job. So they tell the higher ups, oh, everything's great.
Yeah.
And then the employees can't stand the middleman. And the middleman is just barking orders. It's just nuts, right? It's a broken system. Ugh. But anyway,
It's all the false matrix.
yeah. How
Okay,
many
so
people are in
so
alignment?
so what about the one that just says, "Oh, that's all good for you guys." You're like, "That's all good for you. I need a paycheck. I gotta survive. I gotta, work 2, 3 jobs just to make it." Well, here we go again. Is that destiny or is that design? You're gonna go around the mountain again and again and again
Till you tune in.
until you tune in. Allow the quantum realities to collapse in when your tone
Yeah.
it becomes on pitch. When
Right.
you become on pitch, how do you get there? Well, it's not an ascension, it's not a climbing, it is a surrendering and then allowing all of the quantum elements to entangle and come around your life by not forcing anything, by not running out ahead of God, by not going and applying on Indeed again and again, for those of you that are going through job after job, or even the business. Just allow the synchronicities to kind of mature and collapse in. So the more we can hold a fun, playful, joyful tone, the faster those quantum realities collapse. The problem is that our subconscious programming is in survival mode, constantly running the programs of our life. And we're
Yeah.
not aware of it. Even though we want to change, keep it on tune, in tune and on pitch for maybe, an hour or two each day. But the program is still running of survival, fight,
Yeah.
flight, and freeze, fight, flight, and freeze,
Yes.
fight, flight, and freeze. Right?
Right. Which is your body. So your body is your subconscious, and that usually rules. What is it, like 95% or 90%? I think it's 95%. I know we talked about the spirit realm, 95%, and we're aware of the 5%. But here's another thing: you're conscious only about 5%. The rest of the time, we're on a maintenance mode, not maintenance. What's the term? You're coasting out of the unconsciousness that is, and it makes up your body, your
Yeah.
mind, will, and emotions. It's so. Here's the thing, we have to change our personality. And I know you guys that follow Joe Dispenza and things, you've heard him talk about that. If you want a different reality, you've got to change your personality. So who's the person you want to become? And it's not just you trying to become somebody. This is where the Edenic human comes into play. We're actually becoming the real
Mm.
us. We're aligning with design, God ordained design. And we are now refusing to believe the lies that told us, oh, you're just too soft spoken. You're a small personality, or you need to be like this to be accepted. So you've formed a personality around what you think is acceptable, all along being untrue to the real you. And so what is amazing is that when we align with our design and we give ourselves full permission, you're allowed to be you, then because we're all made of energy. This is what's so fascinating.
Yeah.
Everything can change in a moment. So again, you don't have to just go look on Indeed. You can go there, but celebrate who you are being first and look for that. Don't just keep scrolling. Oh, I hope,
This one
No,
pays more. This
yes,
oh,
I'll try
more.
that while your stomach
Yeah.
drops and you want to go throw up, right? No, no, you're in design. And so the cooperative components shift and match your belief in that design. And opportunities, all of a sudden, a phone call will come in, or Somebody will talk to you in a conversation. It's how the field. You celebrate first because that's one and done. I'm done. It's done. Well, of course,
The day is
see
paid
the
for.
different tone, feel the different energy on that open field versus, gotta look for this job. I don't want to really do this. I'd really like to be doing that, but it's so far out there. And so you can see it just drops and then separation happens and the tone. And so everything's up here. We really want to bless you. We really want to get this to you. But until you line up to it, match up to it, come into agreement, it can't land because it's an Edenic principle God put in that matter responds to design, responds to identity.
It really does. It's like, you can either push the boulder uphill and do it
Oh,
all egoically, or you can effortlessly just swim in the river that's already flowing internally. Out of your belly will flow rivers of living water. That's been so misinterpreted. What that means is your design is always flowing. Your Edenic qualities and how you were made up and your design is always constantly on. It never shuts off. The way that we quote shut it off ourselves is by entering into that survival mechanism of ego, but it's still flowing.
yeah.
But we can stop the things, the goodness collapsing in on us by operating out of an out of tune life or an off pitch moment, right? This works the same way in relationships, you guys. Maybe you're suffering in a relationship somewhere, or maybe a family member, a child, grandchild, whatever, and you're feeling separated. We can force things and keep checking in, keep checking the text messages, keep checking back. Have they called yet? Have they texted yet? Are they there? Have they heard? Have they gotten my card?
Retreat.
Received the email? Lord, what's going on?
I need
It's driving you nuts, right? Well, that keeps offering resistance when we do that, and it keeps pushing it away just the same it would if we're trying to climb up a wrong mountain and that we were never called
or a
to do.
ripple in the water.
But if our tuning fork is humming with that on pitch, I'm happy, I'm joyful regardless. I'm going to stay in creative flow. I'm going to stay in the hum. I'm going to stay in that design. Then guess what? That signal goes out. And when that other person's ready and hearing that same signal, they'll go, "Woo." If you put two iPhones together, they go, "Woo."
Right. When they
And then
airdrop. Ready for an airdrop.
ready for an
Oh,
air.
are you ready for an airdrop? How close do you want to get to your design? The moment you match up with your design, airdrop, signal,
There it
connection,
is.
boom.
It connects automatically, but it won't. We keep missing it because we think the devil's holding
Never
stuff
really.
up. Doesn't that just sound so ridiculous?
Oh, listen,
After
the
hearing all of
frequency is like,
this, and then you're like, the devil was holding it.
feels.
No, no, no. Your harmonics was. And, when we enter into distortion, then yeah, evil can play with that. Darkness can play with that and then really get you in a mess, right? But if we're out of distortion and we're playing on key, we are playing the music we were designed to be here with and for, then wow, then I won't even be looking in an industry that for money. Like this has happened so much to us, guys. We're entrepreneurs. We love creative flow. We love entrepreneurial ideas. My dad was an entrepreneur all my life and always come with a great. In fact, he invented the skateboard, but somebody stole that idea.
But see, it was something in the field, and whoever
Something
grabs it,
in the field, yeah. And they stole the idea, took it and ran with it because he didn't have the money for it. But the banker that he went to go get money from took his idea, and then boom, the skateboards just blew up just a short time after that. He knows he had the idea. He's had some great ideas, and so we love that. But we can have a great idea and be misaligned out of design. Just because we're getting great ideas, they're flying by all the
oh
time
yeah,
over everyone's head, over everyone's life because they're in the field. They're sitting there ready to drop in on the
whoever.
planet for it. And somebody in their ego can get it too. But they're in someone else's design trying to push that boulder uphill. I guarantee it, and it's going to be a rough ride. You know that. You entrepreneurs know that. You've taken some boulders and you pushed them uphill, and you thought it was a devil stopping you. You thought it was just life circumstances or, things are getting in my way. I need to forge through. I need to push through. Well, it might have just been misalignment and out of design. That was somebody else's design that you stepped into because you thought it was a good moneymaker, right? We don't want to do it for the money. We want to do it because we're in alignment. Remember that everything that we touch, everything moving forward in the new Edenic era, man, if we touch it, it's going to go pretty rough. But if we allow the design to speak and move ahead of us from the inside out, you'll know it. It'll overtake your life, just like what we're doing now. Humover Hustle is what I'm telling about. We've engaged in a new venture, not just an idea, but it's part of our design.
It's come up several times,
Several
and us
times.
we're like, okay,
We just
we need
started
to
engaging
match up
in
to
it.
that.
We're doing a demonstration and experiment. If you go to the Humover Hustle Facebook page and like it, we'd love for you to do that. Or go to humoverhustle.com you will see our new venture. We're doing something, the foolish things confound the wise, right? So we are DoorDash in America.
Because
It's a movement.
our
Yeah.
dream team has been talking to us about that. Eden
Yeah.
requires movement. Yeah.
Yeah. And so we're not just, it's not, we're not doing DoorDash for money more than we are as a demonstration to show you what the day looks like and how it unfolds for those that are in the transportation field, the dashing field. We could have done a number of different things, but this came up and exploded in my spirit. And I was like, what? I was questioning it at first. I'm like, huh? And I shared this with Amy. He's just like, no, at first. And then we were like, hold on a minute. We started inquiring more. And there it was. It's an awakening. We're going to spread Edenic footprints, follow the
Show the
hum
difference versus hustle, because a lot of
versus
stuff with,
hustle.
like, Uber, DoorDash, all that
They
stuff is
hustle.
hustle, hustle, hustle. Oh, I gotta get the next one. Oh, well, and so we're like, okay, let's apply Eden's hum and follow the hum. Like with each one that alerts comes up, do we take it or do we not take it? And we follow the trail. And it's amazing how it leads you to divine connections, and you feel in your body when it's time to rest and you don't push it. Cause that's another test, right? Like, yeah, but if I rest, that's two I could have made more money. If I lay down, I can't lay down. I need to make more money, you know? And we've had so many times when we just pulled off, we rested, just took a quick power nap for 10 minutes, boom, a big tip comes in or something
Yeah.
like that.
And it's not in the natural. You have to look at this for what it is. And this is why it was the leap off of the cliff, knowing that we were tandem jumping with the man who has the parachute of all parachutes, right? You don't want to jump off a cliff if you know that the tandem guy is not with you, right? So used to making over six figures as an executive, and that was just shot full of holes. That was made clear that door was closing. And then the foolish things confound the wise. So then it said, okay, DoorDash. I'm like, what? Okay. The natural that pays minimum wage. But again, we are doing this by following the hum and then letting the synchronicities happen. Whether it's that somebody Venmos us or we have somebody, we find cash on the ground, or this is a demonstration to see that
That
when you follow
feel.
the hum, when you follow the flow, the designment, then it's the field that provides. It's not necessarily that job. So we're demonstrating that. You can go and see it on our YouTube channel, Humover Hustle on YouTube. And you can see where we already started in Nashville. And then we have some great videos there where we're explaining it, showing the different restaurants that we go into. And now we are in another state.
Yes, we are. So
Yep.
stay tuned for that. No.
Stay tuned for that. So anyway, we'll be showing you that on video. Um,
Yeah, you'll see it on the
and
channel. Check it
and
out on Home Over
and then
Hustle.
we'll start to interview people, and then really, like we said, show the Edenic human and how this is rising in
Yeah.
humanity to follow those harmonics and that design rather than chasing something. And it's going to be show an example of how we posture ourselves and how we keep the tone unbent as
Yeah.
we're going through our day. And so you're going to see the real humanity. You're going to see how we keep the tone. And then sometimes when we're struggling a little bit because we're human, we're going to share that with you too. And this is an experiment. It's a demonstration of our lives to the world to say, wow, look what happened that day. We met this person or we went into this really cool restaurant. And that's another thing. If we're in a certain city and you've been there and you want us to go experience that dining, whatever that is, just let us know. And we'll be going live on Facebook when that part is released to do so. So the more people that join our page on Facebook, Humover Hustle, the quicker we'll be able to go live on there. But for now, we'll just record videos,
Yeah.
post them
And it's on
often.
what, TikTok too, and
Yeah, we're
Instagram, I
on
think.
TikTok, we're on Instagram, we are
YouTube. YouTube.
YouTube.
Follow us
YouTube's
on
a big
YouTube.
one. Yeah, that one. And again, we're showing a business from scratch.
Yeah.
So we're showing Humover Hustle Media
That's
is
the
is
goal.
is our business, and we're going to show you how this unfolds from scratch. We've done several businesses in the past, and this is a new one for us to show the Edenic way.
Yeah. And really it's a classroom. Really, it's a classroom, because what we're showcasing is, can you do this? Can we do this with a hum over hustle, where we are letting the field provide versus just the lower 3D, again, hustle. And it doesn't matter what it is in a lot of ways, but then again, it does. So why DoorDash or why Uber Eats or any of those? The great thing about it is a new era model in a lot of ways, because
No boss.
Yeah, you can clock in when you want, you can clock out when you want. The only thing I think that would help be nicer is if they pay even more, which I'm sure they've talked about and things, and they're adding things all the time. But again, it's not about being dependent on that. It's
Yep.
about being in emotion so that you can make these contacts with people because we all know a boat that doesn't move can't be steered. And so, God is allowing us to be in this as a classroom vehicle as DoorDash to move us forward into contacts, into connections with people, into new places, into playfulness, exploring, because that's keeping our frequency in a higher place. And so you can be saying, wow, how is this matching your design? Well, again,
It's
it's a
Humover Hustle.
classroom. We're working the muscle of can we stay in play? Can we stay in receive mode? Can we watch the field provide versus being solely dependent on a job or a boss or this is my sole provider? So it's faith in action. So that's the next phase that Papa God has us in right now.
Yeah. And so when you go to the site, humoverhustle.com, smash the hamburger, the little three
Little
dashes
three
there,
lines.
little three slashes, smash that. And then you'll see the Dashing America tab. It tells more, and then give some links there.
We're also working on we another thing on our heart to do. And we always have multiple things going on, right?
Yeah.
Because they're true to our design. We really want to start doing um like a Zoom call thing once a month for Origin as well as for Humover Hustle, where we can really do some good Q&As just over entrepreneurial business stuff. So how does it work following in the field? Just really good group discussions. We want to do that like once a month, just donation basis, open that up for whoever. And then of course for the spiritual side of things as we're walking through this. So, and that way we can really have some good conversation Q&As as well. So we are looking into that.
Yeah. Gabriel says,
Oh, hey,
"How to do
Gabriel.
my job for free. That's how I know it's one of my dream jobs." Yeah. I mean, that's awesome. If you would do it for
If the
free.
hum is on
And
it.
and then when you go deeper in that, which we know, Gabriel, you're always inquiring of the Lord and stuff is now what is my design aside from a job? You know, is my design in this, or is it just a great job? And what could you do for free the rest of your life? If it's that job, then maybe it's design, or part of it is.
Yeah.
We just discovered that jobs pay the bills, but then there's the design that's always, it's like the gold current of the mitochondria that flows through the earth, giving life flow to all of the earth in Edenic ways, right? So what is that gold current that flows through your veins all the time that you talk about, you dream about, that you couldn't see yourself not doing? And we just kind of, that's just what we do. We go there. So ours is really to help people discover that hustle and grind are not a part of the Edenic equation. And so we're here to unveil Eden in such a way that it's
By
going to be
demonstration.
by demonstration. So that's the gold vein that flows through us constantly. And then if we, because look, I was in the executive world, and there was some parts I really liked, but I knew that it wasn't the gold vein running through my blood.
They didn't give you
But this
juice.
is this is like, we can talk about this all day long and not get tired. Like, all day long and not get tired. Do you get tired on your job? That would be an indicator that it is a great job. So anyway, just couple things there.
Yeah. And also, right, when there's favor, just like Gabriel, you've shared too, how
Exactly.
you had favor with the owners and they promoted you. And then you held in your design, this is what I feel I'm worth. And they matched it. And so, I mean, again, that's always a truth teller for anybody too, that is in where they're at. Is the favor still on it? Are they honoring your design? Are they honoring you as a person? And then you bloom from there. And it's all the different stages in life, right? Again, our ego wants to anchor down to one thing. This is who I am. This is what I'm going to do the rest of
Right.
my
And
life.
you never know where that's going to
And
lead,
yeah,
right?
exactly. But this is why it's so good to be in your design in the first petal, third petal, whatever, but allow it to take you to the great unfolding. Just stay
Yeah.
true to you. That's authenticity, isn't it?
Yeah,
Being
that's awesome.
honest with who you are. So,
We know
but
you know
anyway,
that stuff, Gabriel. We just, because you posted there, we just wanted to kind of throw that out there. But
yes,
yeah,
yes, you guys are.
let's see what other comments.
Janine, Andy, you guys
One
are
of my
so
life
cool. I love it.
versus weak things of the world. Let's see, Andy.
And I
We
saw
missed some of these
Brian. Brian
comments.
popped on too.
Surrender is the spark of magic. Yeah,
Oh yeah,
awesome.
good one, good one.
Oh, and then Gabriel said this is going to be so helpful when I interview three people tomorrow. Yeah, the interviewing. Just one more thing on that is, I personally, I've learned this over the years. I used to help people write their resumes and everything in a business college. I was the kind of the guy that helped them through the interview process and all of that. And I've done it so at all levels, right? Over the years. One thing I've learned is somebody, you know this, anybody can fudge on their resume. So I don't even look at it. They can send it. That's fine. But I just sit down with them and I just say, hey, why are you here? First question is like, why are you here? And then let them answer that. Right. And then after that, I just let it unfold and say, tell me more about that. Tell me more. And then before you know it, about 5 or 10 minutes into the interview, your discernment's going to say, this person's really
Yeah.
not going to put love into that latte.
Right. Does it ping or does it sting?
Does it ping or does it sting? And does it have the bling? If it has the bling, then I'm gonna sing my head off while I'm making that latte. Yeah. Anyway,
Holy
all
cow.
right, guys, we better drop it right there. But yeah, please go and like the page Humover Hustle on Facebook if you would.
Yeah, we
Follow
love
us
you
there.
guys.
And,
Join us on the journey and the ride along. It's going to be fun
and then we'll
and real.
we will unveil on there where we're at.
Yes.
Where is the Waldoettes now? And then please subscribe to the YouTube channel, Humover Hustle, and then all that good stuff. All right.
Love you guys. Signing off for now.
We will see you on there. So,
Meet
so
you.
I will get this event thing straightened out on Facebook.
Oh, yes.
So you
Some
can
good
just
Mike.
click on the event link for next week. I was just having some technical issues, but we'll get it dialed in and then you'll see the event link and just click on there. So we can have some more live interaction now.
Yes. And for all of you who have not joined onto the new Facebook page, make sure you'll check that out soon too. So, and that is Aura Gen. So Aura with an H and Gen for Genesis, generation. We are the generation of
Go to
the
that
Edenic
page.
human.
The Facebook page. Just go
Yep.
there and like that one too. For the more spiritual, deeper sides of the Edenic stuff, we're going to be utilizing that for that. But then the Humover Hustle stuff is to humanity.
Yeah.
So we'll be speaking to
Every
all of
day.
humanity on that one. And it's more entrepreneurial, creative, flow, business, all of it.
Harmonics.
Harmonics.
Oh, rad.
All right. We love you.
Love you guys.